Hello, Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Recap. So, the month of June, how did it do? Well, it more or less lived up to my expectations, with the exception of one movie, and I'm pretty sure you know which movie I'm talking about, but we'll get to it in due time. But overall, a lot of these movies did match my predictions, so I'm happy about that. So yeah, so as usual, I'm going to be comparing my own personal predictions to what actually happened because it's just fun to do that. And well, actually, before we get to the June movies, we got to talk about a few things. Two more movies: Top Gun Maverick and Morbius. So, Top Gun Maverick, I talked about it in my May recap. I'd made that video about a week after Maverick came out. My God, little did I know how well it would do after that video because it's absolutely bonkers how well this is doing. This has surpassed my expectations, my increased expectations. It shot past those because when I made that video, I noticed I was like, damn, these weekday numbers are really strong. Like, this is kind of a little crazy. And then the second weekend happened where it fell 29%, the lowest ever for a movie opening above 100 million. The previous lowest was Shrek 2 with 33%. So that's some insanity. And it just gets crazier because the next week, the June 10th, where it went up like head to head with Jurassic World Dominion, one would think, oh, it's going to tank, or at least it's going to get hurt a little bit because of it. No, it only fell 42%. It still made over $50 million, even with Jurassic World Dominion, which is really incredible. Because I thought that'd be the direct competition would hurt it, but nope, nothing. And then June 17th, the next week, even with Lightyear coming out, it only fell 14%, and that's thanks to that good old Father's Day weekend because Top Gun Maverick is the ultimate dad movie. Made 44 million. I believe it's the second best, second best fourth weekend of all time. And then the week after that, a lot of people assumed that Top Gun Maverick was gonna win because it was doing so well. It didn't, but it was close. It was like a dead heat for a little bit between Top Gun Maverick and Elvis. And then this past weekend, with thanks to 4th of July being, helping it out because, Top Gun Maverick is a real American type movie, fell 13%, made 25 million. So these numbers are crazy. They are low key unheard of for a blockbuster, a modern day blockbuster. And it's absolutely remarkable. It's now the biggest movie of the year domestically. It's made over $1 billion worldwide. That's something I didn't think was gonna happen. Like, I knew it would be big, I knew it would make money, but $1 billion? No, I didn't see that happening. I thought the Batman Doctor Strange 2 had a better chance of making it than Top Gun Maverick, but boy, I was proven wrong. I mean, these numbers are just so just I can't even describe it. It's maddening. It's it's absolutely incredible and it deserves it. It absolutely deserves it. It's a fantastic movie. It deserves all the money it's making and yay cinema. So yeah, wanted to do a little update on Top Gun Maverick because it has just decimated everybody's expectations, including mine. So yeah. And then on the opposite end of the spectrum, Morbius. So Morbius, after it came out, it became the meme movie of 2022. Everybody was like making these weird comments like it's Morbin time. You've probably heard that a lot online. It's Morbin time. People using the word morbing even though no one knows what that even means. It's just insanity going on with Morbius. And Sony, for some godforsaken reason, looked at all these memes and thought, people are loving, I'm using quotation marks here, loving this movie with all this internet memes and attention. So they thought, let's take advantage of that and re-release the movie first week of June because literally nothing's of importance coming out. They did it, and it failed again. In fact, I'm going to show you the specific number. You got to go all the way to April 1st, which the fact that that was the date Morbius came out is still so funny. But yeah, right here, only made $310,000 in 1,000 theaters. That is just beyond horrendous. So this is proof positive that memes don't always equal box office. Okay, especially in this case, because Sony were so stupid that they didn't realize that all the memes, all the love was purely ironic because everyone hates this movie. Everyone knows this movie is terrible and they're making fun of how terrible it is. That's the whole joke. And they didn't get the joke and they made a complete fool out of themselves. So, yeah. I wanted to mention that because boy, this movie, it failed not once but twice. You don't see too many movies doing that. So yeah. So will it be re-released for the third time? Who knows? But right now, yeah, Morbius is still, well, Morbius 2's chances of success, its chances of existing are still in that death basket. So, yeah. Yeah, so want to talk about those two things because I thought one was, really, good, really happy, and the other I thought was really funny. So, enough about past movies. We're talking about movies that came out in June now. So, let's get started. June 3rd. Oof, it was a weekend to forget. I mean, the only thing that happened was Top Gun Maverick's second weekend being so spectacular, especially for a post-holiday weekend. But I guess we gotta talk about these two movies. Crimes of the Future, latest David Cronenberg movie. In my prediction video, I said this movie would open with like between like $1 to $2 million and make like 3 to 5 million. I think that's what I said. Didn't quite happen. It did open with 1 million, so I was right on that front. But then I should have predicted this. It just was so front loaded. It completely fell apart. 67%, 71%. Oof. That's terrible. And its legs have been just non existent. So, yeah. Not much else to say. I didn't expect it to do well anyway. I mean, it barely released wide. I mean, it was like in less than 800 theaters. So chances of success were low from the start. But then, like, the type of movie it was and like the content, it just this weird like organ fetish movie. I don't know how to describe it, but it's not something most audiences would want to see. So yeah, this movie's lackluster performance doesn't surprise me one bit. So yeah, moving on from that. Also, that movie came out that same weekend. Watcher. So this also came out June 3rd. In my prediction video, I said it would open like I don't know around 1 million or so, and it's told between like be like I don't know 2, 3, 4 million. I think it didn't quite reach $1 million. Reached 800,000, which I wasn't too shocked about, and it's just if it kind of collapsed to the point where yeah 2 million is not happening anymore. Look at these declines just plummeting into oblivion. But apparently it did record numbers for IFC midnight. So there's a I think it's IFC, yeah, it did record numbers for them, so there's some positive news, I guess. But overall, yeah, I'm not surprised this movie didn't do well either. This and Crimes of the Future, neither really had marketing campaigns. They barely existed. No one knew about them, and lo and behold, neither did very well. So, what a shock! So, yeah. So that was June 3rd. Now on to more interesting movies. June 10th. Well, there's this Block Party movie, but it never had box office, so I just didn't even cover it. I didn't even bother. June 10th. Jurassic World Dominion. Okay, let's talk about this. So my prediction video, I said it would open between 130 and 140. I didn't see it opening as big as Fallen Kingdom because of, Fallen Kingdom being not good and, this movie having lackluster reception. I thought those were hurt this movie a bit, but it overperformed a tad, a little better than my predictions. I predicted between 130 and 140. It made 145, and I was like, okay, all right, only a little bit behind Fallen Kingdom, better than I expected. But then it's after that, things have been not super great. It's been kind of front loaded. Fell 59% the next week, which is about on par with Fallen Kingdom, so it's not that crazy. And then 55% the next week, which really isn't good. But it has managed to slow the bleeding down with its fourth weekend, falling 39%, mainly thanks to the 4th of July holiday. So now it has reached, at this moment in time, this is as of July 6th. Okay. No, these are the last numbers. It's at 340 million. I predicted between 350 and 370. It'll definitely, either be in the realm of that or beat that, which is really good. So it will be slightly behind Fallen Kingdom and way behind Jurassic World, the first one. But it's still pretty solid. I mean, it didn't completely embarrass itself to a point like, say, Jurassic Park 3. It kind of avoided that because this is still it's going to be one of the biggest movies of the year. It's one of the few movies this year to make over 300 million plus domestically. The only other ones have been The Batman, A Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Top Gun Maverick, and that's it. That's literally it. So it's kind of in an elite group. So yeah, when it comes to its overseas numbers, it's also doing pretty well. I don't think it's gonna hit 1 billion, which would definitely has to sting a little bit, but it's made more than enough to be profitable. So I don't think Universal is gonna complain too much, especially since 2022 it started out really terrible and didn't start getting good until like the Bad Guys, that did pretty well for them, and then there was this, and now we got Minions 2. They've recovered quite well from a pretty disastrous first few months of 2022. So, yeah. Yeah. Not much else to say about Dominion. I might as well mention, I did see the movie and I thought it existed. It was a movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I tolerated it. Okay. It was better than Fallen Kingdom. That movie legit pissed me off. This didn't. So, good job, movie. You didn't make me hate myself. You didn't make me fully regret my purchasing decision. So, yeah, just wanted to mention that. And Dominion's the biggest movie of the month, obviously. I think we all kind of predicted that. So, yeah. Yeah, so that was Jurassic World Dominion. And now, get ready, because there's a lot to discuss regarding this movie. Lightyear. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. My God. Where do I start here? I don't even know. There's so much. Okay, so Lightyear. Now, Lightyear, I knew that, being a spinoff, it was never going to reach the heights of Toy Story 3 or 4. That was never within the realm of possibility. I didn't see it happening at all. All right. Because, obviously, for the most part, spin-off movies make less than the core installments. Because they're seen as, less of a big deal, less important in the grand scheme of things. Although Minions 2 definitely goes against that whole thing. But for the most part, spin-offs don't do as well as core entries. So, yeah, and I expected, the same thing that happened here. Especially since, it's kind of a weird movie too, because it's not really a Buzz Lightyear movie, based off the toy. It's based off a human who, like the toy's based off a human who is apparently in like this fictional movie in the Toy Story universe, and then that movie is it's so confusing. It's so weird. I don't even know why they did it that way, but that's what they did. So anywho, opening weekend, I looked at all the Pixar movies, all their opening weekends, and after its Thursday previews came out, I was like, okay, this is not gonna be a massive movie. It's gonna open between maybe Cars 3 and Cars 2, so like 53 to 66, somewhere in that range. That's where I thought it would hit. I thought it would at least be number one that weekend. No, no, that's not what happened. It was number two. It lost to Jurassic World Dominion's second weekend. That movie already fell nearly 60%. It could even beat that. 50 million opening weekend. I mean, now one could argue, well, that's not that bad of a weekend. Well, in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty, after really thinking about it, it's kind of terrible. Actually, it's really terrible. Because it did less than Cars. Let's look at all the Pixar movies. So you have a better understanding of how bad this really is. Okay, so Pixar. So the cream of the crop is Incredibles 2. And then Finding Dory, Toy Story 4, Toy Story 3, Inside Out, Monsters University, Incredibles, Finding Nemo, Up, Brave, Cars 2, Wall-E, Monsters Inc., Cars, Cars 3, Coco, Lightyear. There it is. The only movies that opened worse were, well, I guess Toy Story 2. That had a limited start, but then opened wide. And that opened above Lightyear at like 57 million. And that was $1999. So, yikes. The only movies that really did worse were Ratatouille, Good Dinosaur, Onward, and the first Toy Story. Not well, with the exception of Ratatouille and Toy Story, not exactly the best company you want to be in. I mean, I know Onward is good. I haven't seen it, but I've heard decent things. And Good Dinosaur, I haven't really seen that either. I heard it's kind of has great visuals, lackluster story. Um, but yeah, the fact that Lightyear couldn't surpass Cars 3, the most unnecessary Pixar movie of all time, that's embarrassing. That is terrible. And hell, like I thought it would at least open maybe on the same level, like at least this was like a few weeks before it came out. I thought it would at least open around the same level as maybe Sonic 2, right? Because that Sonic 2 was the first family movie to really make big money its opening weekend. That was like $72 million. Couldn't even beat that. It was way behind that. So, yeah. So, opening weekend, it's not good. The situation is not good. But guess what? It gets worse. Even worse. So, in my prediction video, I said I naturally assumed this movie would have good legs because the reviews are good, audience scores are good. Sure, there's Minions 2 on the way, but it might do okay. It might, have decent legs. No, this movie's going against that. Define just it is falling like a stone, an absolute stone. Second weekend fell 64%. That is extremely unusual for a family movie. Family movies, they usually have decent legs. Even the bad ones have decent legs. This just no. It felt like a freaking superhero movie or a horror movie. It's very unusual. In fact, the only Pixar movie that had a worse drop was Onward, and that was directly because of COVID. So, yeah. And you thought it couldn't get worse? It does. Third week, it fell another 64%. Going up against Minions 2, which did extremely well, crushed the box office. And it crushed Lightyear too. So now, as of July 6th, it has made $108 million. My prediction video, I predicted a final total of like 180 to 200. Yeah, this is way behind that. In fact, it's doing so bad, I don't even think it's going to reach The Good Dinosaur. Like, huh? the like the Good Dinosaur is like Pixar's biggest bomb, or at least it was until this. But that was like considered Pixar's biggest flop. Well, Onward doesn't really count. That was screwed over hard by external circumstances. But Good Dinosaur was like Pixar's biggest L, and this movie is might not even match that. So that's just I don't even have words. So I guess now we have to ask what happened here. Well, people come up with like many reasons as to why this all happened. I'm gonna list some of them now. Some people didn't really get Toy Story vibes from this movie. It lacked like, recognizable characters like Woody. Like, it didn't feel like Toy Story at all. Like, Buzz Lightyear didn't feel like Buzz Lightyear. Like, it didn't feel like it belonged with the brand. So that's like reason number one I've heard. Reason number two is the fact that Tim Allen's not voicing Buzz here. It's Chris Evans. And that rubbed people the wrong way because for a lot of people, Tim Allen is Buzz Lightyear. He's synonymous with the character. A lot of people, he is the character. It's kind of like how, I don't know, like Mike Myers is Shrek. Like something like that where like a voice is like so recognizable that if there's anybody else doing it, it's going to feel very off. Same thing happened here. So yeah, some people were turned off about that. Might as well mention this because it was such a talking point. The gay kiss, yes, that whole debacle, that whole bit of news. Some people think that hurt it. Honestly, personally, in my opinion, I think it was a really dumb controversy it was a non-controversy to me. I mean, people saying like, "Oh, gay people in a kids movie, that's bad." I'm like, freaking Paranorman 10 years ago, 2012 from Leica had like a jock-esque character, Mitch, and he was like the movie paired him up with like a Norman's sister. I forgot her name, but the movie like you'd think, oh, those two are gonna get together at the end. That's what the movie wanted you to think. But then at the very end, the movie swerves you by Mitch casually telling Norman's sister, older sister, that he has a boyfriend. Yeah, that really happened. I've seen the movie. That's real. And keep in mind, that movie came out years before same-sex marriage was legalized throughout all the United States. That was 10 years ago. So why the hell are we still having this issue? Especially like we've seen so much in like the world of TV, like a lot of cartoons having LGBT, Q stuff. And like why is this such a big deal? I don't know. And from what I've heard, I haven't seen the movie. I thought about seeing it, but I didn't really feel like it. Just it didn't really grab me. At least the marketing really didn't grab me. Well, actually I would have seen it, but then COVID prevented me from seeing it. And then after I was recovered, I was like, nah, no thanks. I'll just watch on Disney Plus. I'll do the same thing like I did with The Bad Guys. Just watch it on a streaming service. And also, The Bad Guys is really good. I just watched it. Highly recommend that. But yeah, like that whole controversy was so dumb. So dumb. But people think it's a cause, so might as well mention that. But I think the biggest reason, I think the main reason why this movie bombed so hard, well, the answer, for that is another question. Did this need to happen? Did we need a Buzz Lightyear movie? Was there any demand for a Buzz Lightyear movie? Right? Like friggin', like if this was 1995 or like the late 90s, then I could see why they'd want to make a Buzz Lightyear movie because Buzz was like, he was like the character. I mean, hell, they made a whole cartoon about him. So, yeah, like if you were gonna make a Buzz Lightyear movie, you should have made it back then. But now there was like no demand. No one was like, you know, there's like no real demand for it. It's not like Incredibles 2 where people were begging just screaming at Pixar to make the movie. It was nothing like that. People found out there was a Buzz Lightyear movie, and people were like, oh, okay, and that's it. It's exactly like Solo, a Star Wars story. That's a fantastic comparison because Solo also failed miserably, and both movies, part of big brands, both recast the main actor, and both movies were not necessary, and they both tanked. Same thing. History repeats itself, literally. And yeah, I think just the lack of real demand for this movie, I believed, doomed it. Truly doomed it. So yeah, yeah, and Lightyear is easily like the first big bomb of the summer, maybe the biggest bomb of the whole year. I mean, yes, I know other movies didn't do so well, like Firestarter that bombed, but that was a small movie. This cost $200 million, and that doesn't even include marketing. It's a much bigger bomb than Firestarter. So yeah, and it stings more. This movie was expected to be a blockbuster, and that's not happening at all. It just refuses to happen. And its overseas numbers aren't any better. So this movie's an embarrassment. It's a bomb. It's a disaster. And at this point, like, well, might as well mention like the future. I don't think Pixar is going to be rushing to make Toy Story 5 anytime soon after this. And with Pixar, I mean, oh, I didn't even mention another reason. What's been going on with Pixar? See, like, during the pandemic, Disney made a decision to instead to take some of Pixar's movies and put them straight to Disney Plus, no theatrical release. Those movies were Soul, Luca, Turning Red, all had the same treatment, and a lot of people believe that treatment may have doomed this movie to some degree because it made people more comfortable. Made people think, I guess Pixar movies are on Disney Plus now. So maybe some people will just wait till Disney Plus. They didn't realize it yet. That could definitely be true. So yeah, that whole thing just maybe just doomed Pixar movies entirely. And with Pixar's future, I know they have Elemental for next year, but I don't know, man. The future is not bright for Pixar at all. If they weren't a liability before, they certainly are now in the eyes of Bob Chapek at Disney. So, hope this isn't the death of Pixar, but yeah, doesn't change the fact this movie's is a massive L. It completely tanked, and yeah, yeah, that's it for Lightyear. Um, so yeah, I know that was a lot, but I did not expect this movie to do as bad as it did. I really didn't. But the crazy things like this happen. I mean, look at all my 2019 summer predictions. I bombed on a lot of those predictions. So, yeah, this is just another example of that. Okay, so enough sad news, enough bad news. So now we go to the 24th, the last weekend of June. So it's been a real roller coaster ride. We start off bad, and then we go good, and then we go bad again. But thankfully, the month ended on a high note, not a super high note, but a high note, because we had two decent little successes here in the form of Black Phone and Elvis. So let's first talk about Black Phone. Now, my original prediction video, I said I had a feeling it would overperform a bit thanks to his preview numbers. I predicted between 20 and 25 million opening weekend. And lo and behold, it did just that, 23.6 million. And I was like, okay, good. It was number 4, but it was a strong number 4. And like its total, I predicted 60 to 70 million. And it seems like that's definitely going to happen now because it had a really solid second weekend, 48%, which is really good for a horror movie, which is proof positive this movie has really good word of mouth. And I just saw it on Wednesday, yesterday, and yeah, this movie I expected to be good, and it was pretty darn good. I really liked it. I think it deserves its success. So happy about that. And this is like the second horror movie this year that actually make money. The first was Scream 5. We have more horror movies on the way. I know there's Nope coming out later this month. There's Bodies, Bodies, Bodies in August. There's like The Invitation later in August. There's Smile in September. Halloween Ends in October. It's a lot and coming out. But it's nice to see a movie like this, a good movie, a non-franchise flick, do really well. So, yay, I'm happy. So, yeah, that's the Black Phone. And last and certainly not least, we have Elvis. So, let's talk about that. So, Elvis, I predicted it would open between 30 and 35 million. Like, some people thought Top Gun Maverick was going to win this week this weekend for good reason. Lightyear completely underperformed, so that was no longer an issue. And Top Gun Maverick had so much momentum, it was insanity. So people thought that momentum would lead to another number one. But with Elvis, I thought, this movie has good marketing, good reviews. It's catering towards an audience that really hasn't been showing up that much. It's the type of movie that could bring them back. Like, this movie could overperform. And it did reach my expectations. 31 million opening weekend. It ended up beating Top Gun Maverick, but it was very close. Like on Sunday, it was like 30.5 for both movies. So it was a dead heat. And it wasn't until Monday where Elvis definitively beat Top Gun Maverick. So, yeah. Yeah. That was probably the most exciting thing that happened the whole month. That one, moment where Elvis and Top Gun Maverick were literally tied for number one. Well, I guess there was Jurassic World Dominion too, but I think a lot of people knew that'd be a hit anyway, so it wasn't that exciting. And then its total, I expected it to have long legs because it was obviously catering towards an older demographic, and it seems like that's happening because it had a 41% drop. It's had really good weekday legs, really good weekday numbers, and now as of July 6th, it has made $77 million after nearly 2 weeks. So that 110 prediction I made seems like it's going to be a reality, which is great because that older audience, they stayed away from the movies for so long. I mean, like the 18 to 34-year-old demographic, the male demographic, we've been here since May, like since freaking Godzilla versus Kong. We've been here. We've been supporting movies. Then later on, family movies, family audiences started coming back for movies like Sing 2 and Sonic 2 and Bad Guys and Minions 2. Um, let's see what else, and then what other audiences have showed up. Well, those are like the main two audiences, and now older audiences with like Top Gun Maverick aimed more towards an older audience because obviously that was a sequel to a movie from the 80s that brought the older audience back, and with this brought even more of them back. So this is great. This is a positive sign. This is a sign that things are really, you know, you know, uh, going back to normal and going more towards normalcy, box office normalcy. And this is good for Warner Brothers. I mean, when it comes to their movies this year, they're 2 and 3 when it comes to hits. The odd one out is freaking Fantastic Beasts 3, which completely tanked. But besides that, the Batman did strong. This is doing strong. So, yeah. Nothing but good news here for Elvis. So, yeah, I'm happy about this too. And that's it for June. So, overall, the month it did about as well as I expected it to. Jurassic World Dominion made money. Elvis did good. Black Phone did good. The one thing I didn't expect was Lightyear completely just tanking as hard as it did. So, yeah. So that was June. So now we're in July. And, well, we know how Minions 2 was done. That's making monster money. And then this weekend we have Thor Love and Thunder, which at this point in time looks like it's going to make monster money. And then after that, it's very murky. It's not as easy to predict. We got some minor movies, like Miss Harris Goes to Paris, Pulse of Fury, Where the Crawdads Sing. I don't think any of those are going to do that great. Nope could do really well, theoretically, but we'll see about that. DC League of Super Pets also could do really well, but again, I have to see. But that's how July looks. A little more interesting than June, a little more meat on its bones, but yeah, like this summer there hasn't been a whole lot of quantity when it comes to movies, but we definitely had box office quality. We've had big movies: Doctor Strange 2, Top Gun Maverick, Jurassic World Dominion, now Minions 2. So we got those big money blockbusters, which is something last summer really lacked. So yeah, yeah. So that's it for the June recap. If you've seen any of these movies, let me know what you thought of them, what your thoughts are on them. So you can comment those down below. And overall, yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. Want to check out more videos like this? Got playlists on the homepage for all previous recap videos I've done on the channel. And want to check out any of the ones I've done this year? You can go right ahead. And man, what a turnaround! I mean, January was hella depressing, and now it feels like we're seeing more big movies make money, and that's great for the industry. That's great for everybody. Like everybody wins. So yeah, it's nice to see things go in a positive direction. So you want to watch any of all those recaps, you can. There's also box office predictions where I go over the box office results for any particular month. I did prediction videos for all these movies I talked about, all of them, so you can see how accurate I was or how just disastrous I was in the form of Lightyear. If you want to watch any of those videos, you can. I might as well mention this tomorrow. I'm going to do Thor Love and Thunder. There's going to be a lot to discuss regarding that. So stay tuned for that video. But if you want to watch any of the past prediction videos I made this year, go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Yesterday I did, well, I think actually today technically, I did a canceled episode about See How They Run and Devotion, but no one really cares about those movies, but I covered them anyway. That was episode 136. And when it comes to these other movies, I covered Jurassic World Dominion once. That was like episode 22. I didn't cover Lightyear at all. I think I may have talked about it in passing, but I didn't make a whole video about it. I've covered Black Phone a few times, and I've covered Elvis a few times. So if you want to check out those videos, you can. And for the whole series, the whole canceled series, you can start from the beginning to now, binge it, just see how things have evolved in the past 2 years. Highly encourage it, so go do that. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.